Welcome back, everybody. Do we have any housekeeping before we jump in? I always like to get that out of the way first, but I don't
think we do at this time because
do.
We're actually out of town right now.
Are we still out of town?
Yes,
We are pre-recording some
yes.
episodes because we're on vacation.
Yep.
I wasn't sure if we're still on vacation, even though we just looked at the calendar and
We are still out of town.
counted it out. Okay, we're still out of town. Thank you. Well, then
No, I
it's
don't
still
think-
June. If we're still out of town, it's still June. So
It is.
it's still the month of our third birthday. Woo!
Yes,
Way to go,
it is.
$1 Million Landscaper. We made it to 3 years.
Yep.
It's been a ride. It's going great, and I'm enjoying it.
I am. I'm very much enjoying it. I really like talking to the people and learning more about their businesses. And even just hearing the stories of how people are getting started is amazing sometimes, you know.
It is.
How people take over businesses and just unexpectedly or whatever it is. It's
I'd
really
love to
cool.
hear the different stories. Well,
Yeah.
because we're second generation landscapers, so it was like, oh, your dad had the business, family business, and then
Yeah.
we went in and helped.
Yeah.
Boring, lame. We know our story. But hearing how other people are getting businesses because they worked at one and then the owner passed away or wanted to sell it, and so they got it that way.
Yep.
Some people are taking over family businesses after a loved one passed or just got too old. Other people are just like, you know what, my regular job sucks. I'm going to do this
Yep.
instead. So there's all kinds of stories out there.
There is. It's really cool to hear them. So we appreciate everyone that
Absolutely.
lets us know how they got started. I really
And it
like
makes me want to do this more because
does.
when I look at the impact that we can have on other people's lives, I know this might sound like selfish or silly. Like, I like knowing that we are helping other people make their lives better and skipping a little of the heartache that we went through. And I really like that. So
It is. It's very rewarding.
Yep. So that's why we're here. No
Yep.
broke landscapers. So anyway, see, now we're just getting all sappy. Just love you guys so much. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, what are we talking about today? Oh, the number one thing that we did to save our business.
Yep.
Number one, I don't know if it's tying with number two, but the number one thing we did though is we invested in ourselves and we invested in education, I
Yep.
guess is how I want to say it. Because it's very easy to just get kind of caught in the everyday cycle of like, every day's a crapshoot and oh, we're so busy, and you just show up and you do all the things and you
The
get
survival trap.
survival trap.
From Fix
Oh,
This
from
Next.
Fix This Next.
Yeah,
See,
the survival trap.
they have a much more eloquent way of
Yes.
saying it than I do. I'm like, I don't know, everything's insane.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get stuck in that because, not because it's easy, but it's because it's comfortable and it's what you know.
Yeah.
Not comfortable from the standpoint of like lazy comfortable. Comfortable from the, even if it's insane, you know what to expect. And so you can get kind of just stuck repeating that.
Yeah.
So even if
And-
it's not working for you, at least you know how to handle it.
And I think we've done this with every business we've done. So we had the landscaping business with my dad. We worked, did every webinar or seminar or whatever we could go to, or VHS tape at the time, whatever, everything we could do to learn more. We started a pond company.
Oh, we had a
selling-
retail pond
so we
business
sold
briefly.
supplies and everything for a
Yeah.
while. We researched everything on ponds and learned everything we could on ponds, and that ended up helping our landscaping business too. But everything we did, we've done research. And now this business, we invested thousands and thousands of dollars trying to learn and be better at everything we do, and it's
Oh,
paying off.
absolutely.
Yep.
It's yes, because we're, like we said, we're 3 now.
Yep.
And so we're finally starting to have everything pay off because we get it. If you start from literally nothing, landscaping business or online business, it takes a while to get yourself going.
It does.
Totally get it. I had a thought and it was here and then it left. But anyway, you
No.
have to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to come and save you.
Well-
If you own that business, no matter if you hire that awesome employee, you're like, oh, I hired this new person. They're going to be great. They might be great and they might be able to help you, but they're not going to save you.
Well, that's the biggest thing. We saw this a lot. My dad be like, "Oh, we got this guy's coming. He worked for so and so landscape company. He's gonna help. It's gonna really help us out." And it may work out in the beginning for a little bit, but then
It helps,
Yes.
but it's not going to save you.
Yes.
And luckily, maybe you and I are just natural learners. I know I am. I'm like a little sponge. I could have maybe been a college student forever. I just like to learn. Yeah. But if you're being a little stubborn about it, you have to invest in yourself and learn. If we hadn't helped turn the business around, I really don't know what would have happened. And I'm not throwing your dad under the bus, even though we do that sometimes. We haven't done it in a while, so maybe it was time for him to just go right underneath. But your dad is, some people are leaders and some people are worker bees, and he's a little more of a worker bee.
Yeah.
He just, and that's not bad. You need those people.
He's a great manager.
Yes, but
a great manager and salesperson. He's good at talking to people.
He has his strong points,
Yes.
and you need all of these different people in
Yes.
your business. But if you're not going to be the leader that takes that action to get your crap together and get your business going and get it turned around, then you better pay somebody to do it for you.
Oh, yeah.
I guess you could.
Yeah.
But I don't know of any business where somebody in the business has that much of a buy-in as much as an owner would. I would like to think that they would, but they really don't, because it's not their business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Not as much. So
yeah. So that kind of leads me to my number 2, that because number 1, investing in ourselves was the number 1 thing we did to save our business. The next thing was investing in getting help, because as much as we can read and take classes and learn from VHS tapes, there are some things where you just need to pay for help.
do.
We have told the story before where we hired a business consultant. They ended up not being the best one in the world, but we did learn things from
yeah,
him.
we did.
It was not all for nothing. And that really helped turn around our estimating, and it opened our eyes to a lot of things that we just weren't seeing, like wasting so much time in the morning. All of these mistakes that we were making that we were kind of blind to because I call it the tornado. We were in the middle of the tornado.
Yeah.
And so having somebody with that outside perspective come in and point things out definitely helped. So,
And I will say, kind of looking back to when we were talking to this consultant, everything, they were going over so much information and everything just didn't sink in. But the more we started reading and learning more about things, and it's like, oh, I remember him saying this, and
yes.
That's what he meant by this. So
they kind of go together.
Yeah.
The learning and the getting outside help can go hand in hand. Because
Yeah.
I do remember being a little overwhelmed sometimes when he was talking, like deer in the headlights, like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
Well, and I find, off the track here, but I find ourselves doing the same thing to some of the Academy members because we know this stuff in and out.
Yes.
Because have done it so long, but then we're trying to explain to them we have to step back and change the way we speak to people.
We have learned that we have to slow it down.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of talk fast anyway.
Yeah.
So if you've ever listened to a podcast where I'm like, and you're like, whoa, what is she talking about? We are both working on slowing it down, and especially remembering that not everybody has all these years under their belt, and you might have to just bring it back a little bit and remember where we started at.
Yeah, and sometimes I even skip ahead, because thinking this should be done, but it may not done because they didn't know about it. So and it's on me. So it's just something. But like I said, you have to you may learn stuff from somebody here now, but you may not comprehend it at the moment. But you start seeing it, start reading more about it, and understanding.
Well, this is why I go back and reread books.
Yeah.
I reread books and I retake courses. Like if I've paid for an online course, I will sometimes go back and go through it again a year or two later because things will hit you differently now than they did maybe when you initially did it. So, and that's one of the reasons that we have the $1 Million Academy set up as a monthly membership and not a one-time fee for a course, because I don't think most people go back and redo things. I think I'm weird in that aspect. Well, and we want people to be able to ask the questions. Like if you watch a video training that we did and you're like, you're talking at an 8 and I'm at about a 4, you can contact us in the Facebook group and we will help you bring it back to, we'll meet you where you are, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So that is one of the reasons that it's not just a boop, one and done course. We wanted to be able to help people along their journey, and we can go back in now and we are re-recording courses that we did already, and we realize now we're we've maybe got to break that into multiple courses and slow it down a little bit, just break it down a little bit easier.
It's all part of learning. So. Yes.
But investing in getting that help is, I would say, that number 2 thing. After investing in yourself, invest in getting help. There ain't no shame in that game because most people just haven't been taught.
Well,
we ain't been to ABT. We ain't been taught. We were just never taught this stuff. I have a college education, but I went to school for forestry. I did not go for business. Nowhere did I learn any of this. And even if you go to school for landscape architecture or design, you don't learn this business stuff.
Yep.
And I don't know what you learn if you go to like business school, but I don't know that it is this like small mom and pop business stuff.
Yeah,
I think you learn like broader business concepts. I don't know. You took some business classes. I
Yeah,
didn't.
and it was very broad and more corporate type of material, I guess, from just the little bit that I did take. So, yeah, it's different, I guess.
Well, that's why we have the academy.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, it is like this is little, mom and pop, private little business. This is how you do it, small business.
Yep.
So, anyway, then my third bit of advice would be to invest in others, invest in your team. Not only investing in their education and making sure they get trained, but I don't know if emotionally investing is the right word. I don't know. I don't think emotionally is the right word. But trust them with parts of your business because you can't do everything yourself. So you are going to have to, at some point, invest in these people enough, like get them educated enough or get them trained enough that they can start taking some things off of your plate for you. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. You're going to need to build a great team if you want to get far. So plenty of people are like one-man bands and just do it all themselves, and that's fine. But you can only grow so far because your time is a limiting factor.
That, and it's just you. If you want to take a vacation, what's going to happen?
Right. So if that's you, okay, fine, more
That's
power
fine,
to you.
but
If you want to grow, you're going to have trusted team members, and so
and this even goes beyond just what's inside your business, like accountants,
your periphery team, peripheral.
I don't know if that's the
I'm
right
not sure
word,
what the
but
right
no.
word is, but
No.
outside people, like
Correct.
you said, accountants.
Any business consultants or whatever, having these type of people, it's very important. So
Yes. Well, that's one of the reasons that, once again, inside the academy, we have coaches in there that do like websites, marketing, accounting, because these are those type of people that you will eventually have to add to your team because you can't do it all yourself.
Yep.
And so that's why we really work hard at only allowing people in that we really trust and we know that do a really good job and they really understand the landscaping industry.
Yeah.
Because my bit of advice for things to take off your plate is if there's anything you don't like to do, anything you don't want to do, or just anything you flat out don't have time to do, like if it's just not getting done because you don't have time, those are the things that you hire out first. $1 million landscaper, we're 3. Woo! We are finally getting to where we can start to hire out some things. Because Scott and I were getting a little burnt out just because, once again, when we just start out, it's just us. But we don't... we are not the best at keeping up on our bookkeeping.
No.
And so that is one of the first things that we have started to hire out because we know that we won't keep up on it very well.
Yeah. And we have to know our numbers. So
exactly.
it's just something like I just didn't have time doing this.
We don't have time. And really, honestly, we don't like to do it. That's just not, it's not in our field of genius. But if you take things like that and get them off your plate, then that leaves us more time to create podcasts, to add more content to the academy. We would prefer to do things that are going to help everybody. Like helping you all is what we really like to do. We like to help people, dorks, I know, nerds. But we would rather just spend our time doing that, working on our content and doing the things that only we can do. We can't hire out. We can't hire that out.
They can't. No, we can do our knowledge and experience that we have. So.
But we can hire somebody to come in and work on that accounting type stuff for us. So that was like the little third bit of my rant. Is number 1, invest in yourself. Number 2, invest in getting help, and number 3, invest in others.
Yep, I couldn't agree more.
Okay, did I cover it all?
I believe you did.
All righty.
All right, guys.
Do you have questions for me?
Oh, I do.
You're trying to ignore my questions for the day.
All right. So what strange thing would you like to have happen at your funeral to make people laugh?
Oh my gosh, I already have my funeral planned. Is this why you picked this?
This is very weird. I did. This is very weird. So
I'm thinking less funeral, more carnival. I want there to be like popcorn machines, cotton candy machines. I want there to be Greyhound rescue group there with just greyhounds everywhere. Like I want people to be tripping over them. Maybe not the old people. Make a path so you can get the wheelchairs through. But I want there to be greyhounds everywhere. I want to be cremated. I do not want to be like buried somewhere. Lame. This is where it gets weird. Is this what you wanted me to say? Okay. I want to be cremated. I also want Scott to be cremated. And then I want our ashes to be put together so we can just be together forever. Like our ashy bits just touched each other. And then we have 2 kids. And so then they can each have an hourglass that has half of our ashes, of their mixed up parent ashes in there. Is this weird? Have
Somebody's
I maybe
put a little too much thought in this kind of
I
stuff.
did. Well, I know this is gross. I don't know if anybody has ever like looked through somebody's ashes, but I'm like, well, there's bits of bone in there, so you're even gonna have to like sift that out so it can go through the hourglass. Maybe will sand or something have to be added to it? I haven't gotten that far in it yet, but I very much want my funeral to be way more of a celebration. No sappy music. We don't have to play Amazing Grace. None of that.
I will say I went to a funeral one time. It was actually for a customer of us, and he's a real good customer. I became friends with him, and at his funeral he played rock and roll music.
That's
and
amazing. I must not have went with you. I don't remember this.
AC/DC was blasting. I was so shocked, and I had to ask,
You're
why.
like, am I in the right place?
And
was it at a funeral home?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
And I was just taken back because I would never in a million years picture this guy being into I wouldn't say it's heavy metal, but like AC/DC,
like rock.
Stuff. Yeah, rock. And no, he was into this stuff, and he was a very well off guy. Like he had multiple businesses, and I was just very shocked, that this is what he did.
Good for him. Yeah. It's your funeral, but and our kids are already aware of this. I mean, they gave me weird faces, but they know that these are the plans that I want. Yeah. Everybody knows, and you don't have to have this at a funeral home. You can have it like at a park. You can have it in the backyard. I don't care, but it's going to be a celebration, and there better be cotton candy and greyhounds.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
I know. Can you tell I got real excited?
You did.
Well. I'm just saying, it's all planned. Now the kids don't have to worry about it. If something happens, everybody is aware of what I want.
Okay. Would you rather pull a tooth with a pair of pliers or brand yourself with a cattle prod?
No, a tooth that's not loose? I don't want to do either. Oh, this is horrible. I don't know.
I got you all excited, and then
now you brought it way down. I don't know, because like branding hurt like a. Now, I've never been branded, but burns hurt. Like even if you have a little tiny burn, that hurts like a lot. But I don't know that I could pull out my own tooth because that would hurt a lot. I don't like that. Why'd you pick such a gross one? Now my hands are sweating.
We could skip it. All right. What's the grossest thing you've seen someone do in public? That you've seen.
That I've seen?
Yeah. Because you've worked in public for a while. So.
Oh. Yes. Mostly I have seen the aftermath of gross things. Does that count as well? Or
we'll go with it if it's something comes
up. The grossest thing I've probably seen, I can't say because in case anybody has their kids in the car. Yeah. But I worked in Parks and Rec for a long time, and let's just say people do a lot of weird things at the parks. The aftermath of weird things that they do involves fecal matter on the walls of restrooms. That's gross.
I just don't get it.
I don't get it either because you have to touch it to write on the wall with it. So
they literally wrote things on the wall.
Oh, so. Yeah. It's while I was managing park sites because, I would come in on a Saturday morning and be opening up the park and then go to check the bathrooms. And I'm like, what happened here? So I've dealt with the aftermath of that. Like I said, I've seen things that nobody should have to see. You've seen as well. Like when you were helping me lock up the park, people like to park in the park and do things at the park. Yeah. So I've seen plenty of that. Yeah. So okay. I think that's probably pretty good. I could have a lot of stories. That was maybe
just can't say.
That's really none of these are appropriate topics. So
gotcha.
And I still can't decide if I would pull out a tooth or brand myself.
I would probably brand myself because I'd like to have my teeth.
I would probably go with branding only because I know it would hurt for a long time after, but I wouldn't think you'd have to hold it on there long. It would just be like pshoop, touch and you're done. You would just have to deal with the bubbly, burny, blistery aftermath. Yeah. But I don't know that I could crank on my own tooth long enough to get it out. I just would stop and not do it. So, all righty.
All right, guys. All right. Thanks for joining us today. Hope you have a great day.